Nitai, the supreme bestower of Radha Dasyam and Madhurya Bhav. Introduction, Secret to Approaching Radharani. The summum bonum of all devotional service, the highest achievement of all achievements, is Yugalpada Seva, which is solely situated on serving the Queen of Vrindavan, Sri Radhika. This divine love and service is so valuable, so exalted, so inconceivably higher than all the other forms of devotional service, that to even contemplate on the glorious position of the one who can grant this topmost treasure is impenetrable. In order to adequately establish the supreme position of the one who is granting this divine service in Madhurya Prem, we must first understand in depth the supremacy of this divine wealth. Labdha dasyam tadati kripaya mohana swadatina. When, by Sri Radha's supreme mercy and favor, will I become her maidservant. Our highest aspiration in devotional service is to achieve the loving service at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. The attainment of this topmost service is not so easy. Devotees often mistakenly underestimate the elevated and esoteric position of Srimati Radharani and hastily try to jump into approaching her directly in Madhurya Ras without the proper understanding or qualification. These words are not to be mistaken as a premise of not worshipping Radharani. That, of course, is the topmost goal of our devotional service. But we must first understand who she is and what is her position, so as to avoid committing offenses at her lotus feet. Brahmeshavaradi suduraha padaravinda Srimat Paranga Paramadbhuta Vaibhavya Sarvartha Sar Rasavarshi Kripardra Drishtas Tasya Namostu Vrishabhanu Bhavo Mahime. Obeisances to the glory of Sri Vrishabhanu's daughter. Even Brahma, Shiva, and all the demigods cannot attain the pollen of her lotus feet. Her merciful glance showers the best of all nectars. Radharani is worshipped by the demigods headed by Brahma and Shiva, yet the pollen of her lotus feet remain unattainable for them. Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava of all, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, yet he cannot penetrate through the mysteries of Sri Radhika's pastimes. He cannot directly approach Radhika. He has composed so many prayers glorifying Radharani, like Kripakataksha Stotram, Radha Sahasranam, yet her divine pastimes still remain forever a mystery even to him. Who then are we conditioned souls to try and rush into her pastimes without the necessary qualifications? Yo Brahma Rudra Shuka Narada Bhishma Mukhir Alakshito na Sahasa Purushasya Tasya Sadhyo Vashikarana Churnam Ananta Shaktim Tam Radhika Charanarenum Anusmarami. Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhi, verse 4. I meditate on the dust of Sri Radha's lotus feet, the dust that even Brahma, Shiv, Shukdev, Narad, Bhishma, and a host of great saints cannot see, the dust that has limitless power, the dust that at once transforms the Supreme Personality of Godhead into Sri Radha's submissive servant. What to speak of Vaishnavas and demigods, the lotus feet which are deeply hankered for and the constant object of meditation for Sarveshwar Rasaraj Krishna himself, Yogindravadh yat pada jyotir dhyana para. Krishna is also meditating on these lotus feet and desiring to attain them. How can they be easily accessible to anyone else? Brajendra Nandan himself has to go through great penances and sadhana as guided by Shri Radha's gopis and Vrinda Devi to simply become qualified for attaining Radharani's darshan and performing pastimes with her. And he performs even more intense sadhana to grab hold of Radha's tender lotus feet and place them upon his head. The lotus feet which Shyam Sundar holds upon his head with great devotion and reverence, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what must be their unfathomable glory? Radha Seva, therefore, is not only the goal of goals. It is not only the supreme goal of souls engaged in devotional service. It is the ultimate goal for Krishna himself. Premna san madhuro jvalasya hridayam shringara leela kala vaichitri paramavadhir bhagavata pujyaiva. Bhagavata pujyaiva. Radharani is the most worshipable object and Swamini of Bhagavan, who is Shri Krishna. We are worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipping Radha. Her worship is therefore even higher than worshipping Krishna. In fact, it is the perfection of Krishna Aradhana. The name Radha comes not only from Aradhana, which pertains to her being the greatest devotee of Krishna, but it also emanates from Aradhya, which means one's most worshipable deity. Aradhya is also translated as the goal of worship. She is Krishna's Aradhya, and to attain Krishna's Aradhya must be even more difficult than attaining Krishna himself. So how can we expect to penetrate through her confidential pastimes when we are not even fully capable of purely worshipping Krishna without offenses? We are committing so many nam-aparads, seva-aparads, dham-aparads, etc. daily, which are hampering our progress in devotional service. Indeed, these aparads are directly against Radharani herself. Aparadha. If we deconstruct this word into its roots, the meaning which we derive from it is that which is against Radha, aparadha. In this pitiable condition, it is practically impossible to even meditate on conjugal pastimes with a pure state of consciousness. Even if we consider directly entering into such a higher esoteric realm, the question arises of how to approach Radharani. No doubt that she is supremely merciful, even more than Krishna himself. Still, it is not a quick and easy task directly approaching her. She is constantly engaged in looking after the desires of her Sakhis, her Gopis, who are Siddhas and her eternal servants. How will she immediately turn to us, the Nityabaddhas? The only medium of attaining Radharani is through her beloved Gopis, who are even more merciful than Radha. No one approaches Radharani directly without first being guided by the Gopis. We see Bhakti Vinod Thakur personally instruct us on this when he reveals in Siddhi Lalsa that even in his own spiritual form as Kamala Manjari, he was first accepted and guided by Ananga Manjari, followed by Rupa Manjari, Lalita Devi, and then finally Radharani. Even Ajuniya Gopi, who was Arjun desiring to taste the nectar of Madhurya Ras after being instructed by Krishna, got a chance to meet Radharani after the Gopis came and initiated this new Gopi into the Radha mantra and Radha worship. Uddhav was also directed to Radhika's shelter only after associating with her Gopis. In any given circumstance, we can see that Radharani's shelter is only available to those who receive the mercy of her Gopis. Even Krishna has to seek their mercy first before entering into the groves of Vrindavan to perform pastimes with Radharani. Yat padam buruhaik renu kanikam murdhna nidhatum nahi prapur brahma shivadayopi adhikritam gopi ek bhavashraya sapi prema sudha rasam buddhinidhi radha pi sharanarani sadharani bhutakala gati kramena balina he devatubhyam nama. Brahma, Shiv, and the demigods are not qualified to place their heads even on a single particle of dust from Radha's feet. Even so, they who take shelter of the gopis, in the course of time eventually attain Sri Radha, who is the great treasure of the nectar ocean of love. O destiny, I bow down before you. Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, text 74. So, the gopis are the carriers of Radharani's divine mercy. In particular, the manjaris are the most merciful. They selflessly serve the Sakhis and Radha and feel great pleasure in granting others that service. Indeed, it is their mood of service in the Nitya Lila which we are aspiring for. But there is yet another problem. How do we approach the manjaris? The glories of the manjaris are always kept very hidden, even in Krishna Lila. If you notice in the scriptures, they are barely ever explicitly mentioned. The manjaris also tend to keep the Sakhis in the forefront and themselves remain hidden because of their naturally humble nature, making it even more extremely difficult to understand or approach them. So how is their confidential bhav revealed to the whole world? This manjari bhav, which is hidden even in the scriptures, is disclosed by the grace of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Anarpita chari macharat karunaya vatirna kalo samarpayitum munnato jwalarasam sabhakti shriyam. Chaitanya Charitamrit Adi Leela, chapter 1, verse 4. The Anarpita, most hidden treasure of all time, which Shachinandan has come to give to this world, is Manjari Bhav, serving Radharani in the mood of a Manjari. This is why he has brought all the Manjaris with him in his pastimes in order to propagate their glories. The gopis are attained by the mercy of Gaur Sundar. Lalita Devi was so exceedingly pleased when Rupa Manjari brought Kamala Manjari and mentioned that she was a devotee of Gauranga. However, Gauranga does not indiscriminately distribute this rare Manjari Bhav to the conditioned souls, because he knows they are unqualified. In that case, for limitlessly fallen souls like us, this Radha Prem still does not remain fully accessible. Gauranga would never even discuss the topics of Radha Krishna before anyone. The merciful glance and benediction of Gauranga Mahaprabhu is attained only through a very important personality. So now comes the final question: how to attain the unprecedented mercy of Sri Gaurasundar? This is the final answer, which will give us our only medium to surely and easily, guaranteed, attain Radharani and Madhurya Bhav. Gaurhari is definitely more easily approachable than Radharani and the Manjaris, but yet do not forget that he is Nyaya Kripadhish. There is still some consideration of judgment. Because he is Radha Krishna combined, he contains Radharani's magnanimity to a great extent, but Krishna's Nyaya, judgment, is also present. Now who is our only resort left? So now, the only hope that remains for us hopeless souls is the Lord who is cent%, Kripadhish. He knows nothing but causeless mercy, the one who is the most liberal Lord in the whole creation, and his greatest pleasure is in giving Gaur Radha Krishna to whoever comes before him. The one and only Nityananda Rai. Without Radha, no Krishna. Without gopis, no Radha. Without Gaur, no gopis. And without Nitai, no Gaur. In conclusion, without Nitai, there is nothing, nothing, nothing. Everything begins only and only with the mercy of Nityananda. Mahaprabhu is also very magnanimous, but his mercy is not freely available to those who are extremely fallen, or for those who do not aspire for that mercy. Nitai's mercy, however, exceeds the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Nitai runs after even those miserable souls who are averse to devotional service and abominably fallen, bestowing upon them the qualification to directly serve the lotus feet of the divine couple. Sri Sri Radha Krishna. The uniqueness and peculiarity of Nitai's lavish mercy is that he is willing to even change our free will, which is not even a consideration for Gaur and Krishna. This is what makes him the only hope for fallen souls to attain the divine couple. Mahaprabhu's grace presupposes some selection, whereas Nityananda's grace has no selection. The grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presupposes some selection, but Sri Nityananda Prabhu's grace has no selection. He gives his grace to whoever he comes across. Nityananda Prabhu is so magnanimous that he saves whoever he comes across on his way. His mercy is so raw, undiscriminating, and broad. Nityananda Prabhu is most benevolent. Mahaprabhu has a sort of discrimination, but Nityananda Prabhu does not care for any discrimination whatsoever. Whether it is fit or an unfit candidate, he is still counted as worthy. Such is his mercy. Never dare to approach Sri Sri Radha Krishna, neglecting the grace of Lord Nityananda. Heno Nitai bine bhai Radha Krishna paitenai. So our revered Sripad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj has laid stress on Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is Lord Balaram. Nityananda Prabhu's grace is stressed for the fallen. His grace is our real wealth for them because discrimination hardly has place in it. Although not much, we nonetheless find some sort of discrimination in the magnanimity of Lord Gauranga. But Nityananda Prabhu is more generous. So first, go to Nityananda Prabhu, and by his grace, you will go to Mahaprabhu. And by the grace of Mahaprabhu, you will easily reach Sri Sri Radha Govinda in Vrindavan. By Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Source, Chapter 12, Every Word is a Song, Sermons from the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 1. So, what will get us into the realm of Radha Krishna's conjugal love is not qualification. What can be the qualification to witness such high pastimes? It is only mercy which enables us to enter into that realm. And Nitai is the last limit of causeless, unconditional mercy. There is no mercy, there is no limit to the mercy of Nitai. You cannot find out the limit. If there would have been a limit to his mercy, then the last limit is Nityananda by Gaur Govinda Swami. At the present age, when committing offenses has become unavoidable and pure love has become practically unattainable, Nitai has made his heroic entry. Je bhakti gopika gonero kahe bhagavate, nityananda hoite taha pailo jagate. The devotion of the gopis described in Srimad Bhagavatam was awarded to the people of this world by Nityananda. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya Khand, Chapter 5, Verse 303. Nitai is so causelessly merciful that he is distributing this most hidden treasure of all time, not to just one or two souls, but to the whole world. Nityananda hoite taha pailo jagote. One may ask, what is their qualification? The answer is very simple. Nitai's mercy is the qualification. Gauranga will only distribute the fruits of his divine conjugal love to those who are graced by the causeless mercy of Nitai Chand. This is the ultimate qualification. In fact, Gauranga has himself proclaimed Nitai as the proprietor of his mercy. Gauranga always gives his mercy only through Nityananda, and it is through Nityananda that all his actions are performed. Amaro shakolo karmo Nityananda dware, okapote ami kohilo tomare. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antyakhand, Chapter 1, verse 103. I tell you frankly that all my activities are performed through Nityananda. Nitai is perpetually maddened and engulfed in the ambrosial of Gaur Krishna Prem. When one is overly intoxicated, the tendency to judge completely wears off. Uttama adhama kichu na kare vichar. So Nitai is in that state, intoxicated with Gaur Prem. This Gaur Prem is gushing out of his lotus eyes incessantly in the form of tears, just like a waterfall of uncontrolled compassion. Only when Nitai Chandra will wash our filthy hearts with his pearl-like tears will Gaur Hari appear in our heart. Only then will we be able to peer into Gauranga's heart and see the divine conjugal pastimes of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. Gaur's pastimes are encapsulated within Nitai's heart, and Radha Krishna's pastimes are locked in Gaur's heart. Therefore, Nitai's heart is the transcendental abode of Gaur Radha Krishna's pastimes, and he is the sole transparent medium for all souls to see them. Gaur Radha Krishna are forced to appear where Nitai Chandra is present. Nityananda is our only hope. He is so benevolent, so generous, so gracious, that very easily we can draw his attention and we can get his recommendation. Gauranga Dev will not be able to disregard his recommendation. And when we have got the grace of Gauranga, then Radha Krishna Lila is within our fists. Nityananda Prabhu's grace means to get Mahaprabhu's grace within our clutches, and to get Mahaprabhu means to get Radha Govinda, Vrindavan, and then everything is within our fists. By Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So Nitai's drunkenness in Gauranga Prem is so intense that he is bound to distribute that Prem to one and all without seeing any qualification. In our present condition, we are continually running away very fast from Gaur Radha Krishna due to our unforgivably offensive nature, which we are persisting to at every moment. Nitai is the only Lord who is running faster than us to catch us and bring us back to Gaur Radha Krishna's shelter. Our aparads are the greatest obstacle in our Krishna Bhakti, which makes us Radha Vimukha. Nitai is the only Prabhu, the only Lord, who is not only forgiving these offenses unconditionally, but is also the one who annihilates these offenses from their roots